I got into activism through a little bit at a time, actually. I don't come from an activist background or anything, but after I did my undergraduate, I went and studied conflict resolution for my master's, and obviously was focusing on lots of things wrong with the world. And one of the first key things I did after the master's was come out here. It was a couple of years afterwards for the First World Congress in Berlin, and where we founded the Youth Network. So that was actually one of the first sort of big things I did to get involved in activism. International Peace Bureau Youth Network is a voluntary organization associated with the International Peace Bureau. It was founded in 2016 by the youth attendees at the Congress then, partly because there wasn't much engagement with youth then, and we wanted to say that needs to be more, we're here, we're interested, we're engaged, how can we work together more? And it grew out of that a lot, and they've taken that challenge and run with it. There's so much engagement with youth in this Congress. And so what we've been doing in the intervening years is sort of bringing people together from around the world, building ideas of peace, and kind of connecting young peace activists, basically, to do the work that they're doing, but are already doing around the world, to do the work they're already doing around the world, but connected with other people also doing similar. So the role of youth now is actually quite similar, I think, to what the role of youth has been all the way through. If you can trace back youth activism sort of all the way through the 20th century. And I think one of the things that is sort of really key is making it clear that the people on the front lines calling for peace, calling for justice, are quite often young people who go, you know what, the world doesn't have to be this way. So yeah, we've seen it around the world in so many different occasions when young people have gone, no, this doesn't have to be how the world is. Protests against the Vietnam War in the US, Greenham Common in the UK, lots of the activism against the dictatorship in Argentina was by younger people, and sort of all through, you can see these different elements. All the way through history, we can see that young people go out and fight for justice. Really often, when we look at conflict, we talk about how young people are, especially young men, are kind of a threat. Too many young men in a society who don't have occupation, they're something dangerous and something that is more likely to drive conflict. And I think, while that's obviously true in a lot of situations, it's also young people who can provide the opposite, can provide a new way of approaching and going, no, this isn't okay, let's look for something different and better. And I think that's, so there's a sort of, that threat can also be an opportunity and something that should be mobilized for good as opposed to. I think yes, in a sense, we do have governments now listening to youth more. I think, obviously, Greta Thunberg's done amazing things with Fridays for Future. There's the Extinction Rebellion, people going out and going, no, this is not the way we want the world to be, and we need to act now, it's our future, why aren't you protecting it? And I think that's great. I also think that sort of quite possibly the impact of the pandemic pushing everybody online has meant that the spaces that youth have really taken and run with are these sort of online spaces of activism. And now that everybody's living online a lot more than we used to do, even older generations, that I think has kind of brought the two together in ways that I don't know how that's going to play out yet, but there's quite a lot of interesting possibilities there in terms of bringing what youth are saying out of a kind of side space into sort of the mainstream, or the mainstream looking at what youth are saying in a more meaningful way. I think when I imagine a better future, when I imagine the world I want to see, it's one where everybody's value is recognized and treated as equal. So we live in an unequal world where, because of where one's born, that means you're treated with a different level of value, given a different level of opportunity. And if I could reimagine our world, it would be one where that sort of intrinsic basic value of every single person is protected and supported.